Welcome to MooMooMath. Today we're going to learn about the inverse trig functions, sine inverse, cosine inverse, and tangent inverse, and how those look on a graph. So first of all, I want to show you some notation. So up here we have an inverse sine of x is equal to y. We can also write that as arc sine of x is equal to y. Same with inverse cosine. That can be written as arc cosine of x, and inverse tangent of x can also be written as arc tan of x. So that notation is just the same. They mean the same things. Okay, so how does an inverse function work? Well, y equals sine x. Sine x, we know, is an oscillating graph. It's periodic, and it oscillates between the values -1 and the peak is at +1 for the parent graph, but it keeps repeating itself every 2 pi, or every 360 degrees. If we want to look at the inverse of that, what we're doing is we're taking the sine of an angle and we get some ratio that falls between -1 and 1. When we're doing an inverse, our angle becomes our solution, and our ratio becomes the input or the x value. So if for an inverse sine function, you're going to take the inverse sine of a ratio, and that ratio has to be less than 1 or greater than -1, so it has to fall between 1 and -1, but the output is an angle. So again, you can write this as arc sine x, and that is also an inverse function. So I just want to talk about notation. Okay, so let's start with the sine graph. Since trig functions are periodic, meaning they oscillate and repeat themselves over time, they have a specific range of values, and they range between -1 and all the way up to +1, and it repeats over a sine curve. So what we have to do is we have to take a slice of our graph. So what we're going to do is we're going to isolate one little section of our graph. It's not even a full period, but what we're going to do is we're going to isolate from this minimum value of -1 to a maximum value of +1. We're going to take this little slice of sine and we're going to find the inverse of this region. So you have to think minimum to a maximum y value, and that's what we're looking at. So here we are. We've got our minimum value at -1, our maximum value at +1, and it goes through the origin. And you can see this is the sine graph, just the slice of it. Now, if we continued to graph it, I'm just going to kind of sketch it with a dashed line. It would go like this, and it would go all the way down to -1. It would repeat and go up, and it could also go backwards, and you get the idea. Okay, but this solid section is what we're going to take the inverse of it. When you take the inverse of a function, you switch the x and the y coordinates. So we're going to look at these 3 coordinates, and we're going to flip those around to find the inverse. So the point -pi12, -1, changes here to -1 on the x-axis and -pi12 on the y-axis. So this becomes a value on the y, and this -1 becomes a value on the x for the inverse. The 0, 0 remains the same because when you switch 0 and 0, you get 0, 0. But then for the other endpoint, pi12, we're going to switch that coordinate to +1 and then pi12. Now, when you take the inverse of a function, I'm going to erase all this stuff over here so we can see it a little bit better. Okay, you're going to reflect it over the y equals x line. So I'm going to just kind of sketch this so you can see a y equals x line. I'm going to take the graph and reflect it over that line. Well, what's going to happen, let me get another colored pen here, is it's going to reflect, and this is going to bow upwards and then loop this way. So you can see how this inverse curve has the same shape as this red curve. So it's the inverse, where you flip your x and y coordinates. So how are we going to restrict the cosine curve? Well, again, we have to go from a min to a max, or in this case, it's a little easier to go from a maximum value to a minimum value because this is on the x-axis cosine starts at 0, 1, and it does half a cycle to pi negative 1. So that's 1/2 of our cycle. That's the section we're going to take and reflect. So let's think about what that one's going to look like. It's a little bit different. Okay, if I drew my y equals x line, okay, I'm going to reflect this point down to the x-axis, and the point pi halves 0 reflects up to the x-axis, and this point actually reflects way over to the right. So what's it going to look like? Well, it looks like this. So the point 0, 1 becomes 1, 0. The point pi halves 0 becomes 0 pi halves, and the point pi negative 1 ends up way up here. So our domain for an inverse cosine is negative 1 to positive 1, and the range is from 0 to pi. So you can see how the x and the y coordinates switch values, because let's go back and look one more time. Cosine normally oscillates between negative 1 and positive 1 on the y-axis, and 0 to pi on the x-axis. So those values are going to switch. 0 to pi becomes the y-axis, and negative 1 to 1 becomes the x-axis. Now let's look at tangent. Tangent's a little bit different because it doesn't just go up and down, but it does have a repeating pattern. So I'm going to sketch the graph, and we're going to talk about it. So the domain of one cycle of pi is, on the x-axis, the domain is negative pi halves to pi halves. The range, though, is up and down forever, so it's all real numbers. So what is that graph going to look like? Well, I'm going to take this, let's slide it over to the left for a second. And we're going to sketch it here. That means my asymptotes are no longer going to be vertical. They're actually going to be horizontal. So my top asymptote is going to be this pi halves. So let's go over here and grab this. That's going to be pi halves. And this one's going to be at negative pi halves. So you can see how I'm pulling these off my x-axis and drawing them on my y-axis. And this point at 1 and this point at negative 1, I'm going to take it off the x-axis and label it along the y-axis. Those are what I consider my quarter points. And so at pi fourths, I'm going to hit 1, and at negative negative 1, I'm going to hit negative pi fourths. And this is kind of what my tangent graph looks like. There we go. It's going to approach the asymptotes both in the negative and the positive direction. So that means my domain is all real numbers, but my range is from negative pi halves to pi halves. This is a little bit different, but you can see the comparison of the two. So let's do a quick summary of our domains and ranges. So for arc sine, our domain is going to be negative 1 to positive 1. And the range is going to be from the bracketed negative pi halves up, that's the minimum, and then positive pi halves, that's my maximum. And I'm going to include those 2 points. So that's what my domain and range are. For cosine, I'm going to have the same domain, negative 1 to positive 1, but my range is different. My range is going to start at 0, and it's going to end at pi. And I do include those 2 endpoints because at 0 I'm at positive 1 and pi I'm at negative 1, so I'm going to have points on the endpoints. But my tangent curve, my domain of the tangent, we just looked at that graph. That domain is all real numbers. It's going to go left to right and right forever. Why? Because the range of the original tangent function was all real. That means the domain of the inverse is the same as the range of the original function. Now, the range is going to be between pi halves and positive pi halves. But at pi halves and positive pi halves, I have asymptotes. So I'm not going to include those points in my range. And that's kind of a summary of my domains and ranges. And you can go back to your video and look at the graphs. So there is this last one. Let me type up here so you've got it. Y equals the inverse tangent, or let's call it arctangent of x. That's your inverse function. And then back here we have our inverse for cosine, and it loops back. Our range is, or our domain is -1 to 1, and our range is 0 to pi. And there's the original function you can look at and see how the domains and ranges are switching. And then here's our inverse function. Here's the original graph in blue, and then the reflected inverse graph in red. So the domain is -1 to +1, and the range is -pi-halves to pi-halves. And there are the graphs of our inverse trig functions. So I hope this video is helpful on graphing inverse trig.